This is Kazuya Kinoshita, a college student who previously had a girlfriend who was his first love, but after 1 month of dating, Kazuya was dumped because the girl already liked someone else. After they break up, Kazuya decides to rent a girlfriend through a dating app, which is a pure and refined high-class girlfriend named Mizuhara Chizuru. On their first date, they decide to go to the aquarium, and she's glad she's with Kazuya. When they return home, she suddenly takes his hand in hers, which he appears to enjoy. So they split their way back home, and Kazuya is still overshadowed by Chizuru's hand in his. However, he discovers that many of the app's reviews are sharing the same experience as him, which he realizes is all a trick. When Kazuya looks at his bank account, he recalls his father's message in which he warns him not to waste his money. For that reason, he decides to rent her again and asks her directly if doing the rental job leaves her feeling empty inside, which she doesn't. So a disappointed Kazuya expresses his dissatisfaction with her insincere act in front of the public, which he believes Chizuru is unprofessional. As a result, she grabs his hand and leads him away to a quiet place, reminding him that she is only his rental girlfriend. She's also upset because Kazuya previously gave her a 1-star review, which dropped her rank by 0.3 points. While Chizuru asks him to continue their rental date, Kazuya receives a call from the hospital, where his grandmother has collapsed and is being treated. When they arrive at the hospital, the Kazuya family is surprised to see Kazuya introducing his new girlfriend, which Chizuru decides to play along with. After hearing good news from his grandson, Kazuya's grandmother rushes out to tell her roommates about his grandson's girlfriend. Chizuru becomes panicked when she realizes that her grandmother is also a hospital inpatient. When they decide to leave the hospital, Chizuru's grandmother appears unexpectedly, surprising both of them. To avoid a major problem, Kazuya decides to tell the truth, but Chizuru immediately stops him and pretends they are a couple. Following that, Chizuru realizes it was her fault for hiding her job, and she wants to tell her family that her relationship with Kazuya is over. Meanwhile, Kazuya unexpectedly tells her that her grandmother wants him to find a good girlfriend before she dies, so he wants to grant her a wish. When he intends to introduce his previous girlfriend, she refuses and dumps him right away. In the end, they decide to end their fake relationship and get back to their normal lives and part ways. But fate has other plans when Kazuya unexpectedly runs into Chizuru at their university. This chance meeting marks the beginning of a unique relationship between a simp boy and his rental girlfriend. After their fake breakup, Chizuru quickly runs away, leaving him behind. As Kazuya walks to his class, he is suddenly pulled by her and hides in the storage room, where she threatens him not to tell anyone about her rental job. The next morning, they are surprised to discover that they live in the same apartment next door to each other. Soon after, he receives a phone call from his grandmother, informing him that she will pay him a visit at his apartment. So Kazuya begs her to be his girlfriend again, but she immediately declines. When Kazuya's grandmother arrives at his apartment, she knows that they have broken up, which disappoints her. However, she is grateful when Kazuya introduces Chizuru to her. So when a late Chizuru arrives at his apartment with her homemade cooking, she rushes to her and happily hugs her. Before his grandmother leaves, she instructs Kazuya to pay her a visit every Wednesday and to bring Chizuru with her. So he gives her his money to pay her rent as a girlfriend for the next week. At the university, Kazuya unexpectedly runs into Mami, his ex-girlfriend, for the first time since their breakup. Suddenly, Kazuya's friends, Kiba and Kori, appear from behind and advise him to forget about his ex-girlfriend. Later, Kazuya goes to see his grandmother with Chizuru. After visiting his grandmother, Kazuya and Chizuru walk back home, where they happen to meet Kazuya's friends. Because they misinterpret the two of them, Kazuya informs his friends that they are dating, which surprises them. So they invite Chizuru and Kazuya over for a drinking party. Surprisingly, Mami also attends the party, where she begins insulting Kazuya in front of their friends. Chizuru, on the other hand, snaps at Mami for insulting his boyfriend, causing Mami to seek the help of her ex. However, Kazuya chooses to defend her ex. So Chizuru is upset with him and leaves the party early. After the party, Kazuya walks home by himself, and Mami suddenly appears. On their way back home, she invites him to stop by her house. Kazuya asks about her new boyfriend, but she claims she lied because Kazuya brought Chizuru with him. Shin then claims that her brother is at her house and that they cannot go to her house. When Mami makes fun of Chizuru's bad personality, Kazuya defends her and quickly abandons her. When Kazuya arrives at his apartment, he apologizes to Chizuru for what happened earlier at the party, but she doesn't mind because she's just his rental girlfriend. A few days later, Kazuya and his friends head to the beach on the Izu Peninsula. When they arrive at the beach, Mami approaches Kazuya and apologizes for badmouthing Chizuru. She then tries to recall all of their beautiful memories from when they were still dating because Mami is extremely jealous of his girlfriend. Kazuya wants to tell her the truth, that Chizuru is just a rental girlfriend. However, before he can say anything to her, Chizuru unexpectedly appears, catching him off guard. As they go out shopping together, Kazuya shares with Chizuru about his opportunity to reconnect with Mami, and wonders if she will be jealous of him later. She later argues with him, capturing Mami's attention. So Chizuru quickly changes her appearance and pretends that she and Kazuya are dating. While they are playing, Kazuya's friends ask how they met, and Kazuya responds by talking nonsense to them. When Kazuya goes swimming, Mami asks for Kazuya's help in finding her lost bracelet. She accidentally slips her foot away, and she kisses him directly. When they kiss, Kazuya recalls their first meeting with her. Soon after the kiss, she asks him to forget what happened and act normal in front of his friends. When they return to their friends, Kazuya receives a call from his grandmother informing him that she will be discharged from the hospital and can see Chizuru whenever she wants. Faced with conflicting emotions, Kazuya informs their friends that he and Chizuru are splitting up, which causes a fight between him and Kiba. Kiba expresses his disappointment with his decision to choose his ex over his girlfriend. After the fight, Chizuru reassures Kazuya that he did nothing wrong and reminds him that his friends are unaware of their true story. He informs her that his grandmother, as well as her grandmother, will be discharged soon, and they decide to end their fake relationship. Before they part ways, Chizuru clears up Kazuya's doubts and encourages him to cherish the moments they share. While Chizuru's friend is looking for her, she runs into Kiba, who asks for her time to talk. He begins by telling her that he has known Kazuya since they were kids and that he understands he is trash who always needs others to clean up his messes. So Kiba begs her to give him a second chance because Kazuya is a good man. He then hands Chizuru a pair of ferry tickets that he purchased for them. On the ferry, Kazuya receives a phone call from Mami. While Kazuya is on the phone, a flustered Chizuru becomes dizzy and falls into the sea. After hearing what happened from the other passengers, Kazuya drops his phone and jumps into the sea to save her. Kazuya is able to save a drowning Chizuru, but he becomes unconscious after they return to the surface. In a desperate attempt, Chizuru performs 30 chest compressions, but it appears useless. However, refusing to give up, she tries to give Kazuya artificial respiration, which eventually saves his life. Soon after, they are found by the Coast Guard and taken to the hospital for a day of treatment. When Kazuya gets discharged from the hospital, his friends give him a ride home. As he arrives, Kiba advises him to stay with Chizuru after the incident. Taking Kiba's advice, Kazuya apologizes to her for the previous incident, leaving him alone outside. Back at home, as Kazuya takes care of his fish, he begins to realize that his feelings for Chizuru have grown into something more than he had previously imagined. A few days later, Kazuya and his family take a vacation to a hot spring resort. When they arrive, Kazuya's grandmother is also waiting for her friend, who turns out to be Chizuru's grandmother. When Kazuya walks into his room, he is surprised to see Chizuru in the same room as him. They then realize that their grandmothers worked together to set up their room. After they fail to confront their grandmothers, Chizuru decides to enjoy her vacation. When she visits the hot spring, she unintentionally meets Kazuya's grandmother. While they are showering, Chizuru asks Kazuya's grandmother if her kind personality has changed, but she accepts Chizuru for who she is. As the day comes to an end, Chizuru decides to let Kazuya sleep in the same room as her. When they turn off the lights, Kazuya tells Chizuru that he is a tough and problematic customer, but he wants to continue renting her as his girlfriend. Chizuru responds that he can rent her for a while. A few days later, Kazuya informs his friends that he and Chizuru are still dating. After dating at the restaurant, Kazuya and Chizuru meet Kori, who claims to also have a girlfriend. He then arranges a double date for next Saturday. While Kazuya walks alone to his apartment, lost in thought, he collides with a cute girl who ignores his presence and quickly disappears into the city streets. The long-awaited double date arrives, and Kazuya is introduced to Kori's girlfriend, Ruka Saroshina. At rock climbing, Chizuru manages to have fun there while Kazuya keeps falling. Meanwhile, when Chizuru and Ruka are alone together, she then asks her if she is a rental girlfriend, which she denies it. When Kori steps away to the bathroom, Chizuru tries to convince her that they are dating, but Ruka requests a kiss from both of them as proof of their relationship. So Chizuru grabs Kazuya and pretends to kiss him while covering their faces, leaving her uncertain. After their double date goes well, Kazuya walks Kori and Ruka to the train station. However, as they part ways, he is still concerned that Ruka will reveal the truth to his friend. So he follows her all the way inside the station, and Ruka catches him lying. After Ruka discovers that Chizuru is a rental girlfriend, Kazuya follows her, desperately pleading for her silence regarding their fake relationship. As Ruka tries to run away from him, she nearly collides with an old lady, nearly falling down the stairs. Kazuya swiftly reaches out, saving her from a dangerous fall. So he begs Ruka once again, urging her not to reveal their secret. Surprisingly, Ruka reveals her own secret, that she is also a rental girlfriend. Kazuya then tells Chizuru about Ruka, whom she finds annoying. While waiting for Kori on campus, he notices Ruka appears to be looking for him. To avoid any complications, they quickly hide in a classroom, hoping to evade Kori's discovery. As they hide, Ruka requests Kazuya to hug her while she checks her phone. However, Kori manages to find their hiding spot. With no other choice, Ruka boldly arises from her hiding place and reveals the truth about her status as a rental girlfriend, leaving Kori stunned and overwhelmed with embarrassment. When Kazuya tells Chizuru about what happened today, Ruka manages to find their apartment. She is surprised, knowing that Kazuya and Chizuru are neighbors. So Ruka promises them that she will not talk about their fake relationship unless Kazuya dates her. As the three of them gather inside Kazuya's room, Kazuya asks Ruka to step outside for a moment so he can speak with Chizuru first. While she waits outside, Kazuya asks Chizuru to distract Ruka so that Kazuya can go tell Kori about the true situation. So Kazuya tries to escape from the balcony, but he is caught by Ruka and falls to the ground. As Kazuya tries to run away, Ruka manages to catch hold of him tightly, refusing to let him go. In their struggle, they both stumble and fall together. At that moment, Kazuya immediately apologizes to her for the misunderstanding, recognizing the pain he unintentionally caused her. Hearing his apology, Ruka suddenly bursts into tears, revealing her desperation. Witnessing the emotional scene, Chizuru intervenes and pulls Kazuya aside, creating a private space for them to talk. So Chizuru asks him to go out with her. It is then revealed that Ruka has a medical condition, which is a low heart rate, which makes her emotional response even more poignant. Out of all the individuals she has been on dates with, Kazuya is the first person who has been able to raise her heart rate. Because of Chizuru's request, he finally agrees to date her for a while, which leaves him feeling exhausted. Since then, he has decided to distance himself from Ruka. However, when he plans to rent Chizuru on Christmas Eve, her schedule is marked as full. As Kazuya's bank account runs low, he accidentally sees Chizuru with an unknown man, whom he mistakenly assumes to be her boyfriend. So Kazuya decides to follow them throughout their date, secretly observing their every move. When Kazuya goes to the restroom to wash his hands, he unexpectedly encounters that unknown man. Surprisingly, he overhears their conversation, leading him to believe that the man is attempting to sell Chizuru. In front of the beautifully decorated Christmas Eve tree, Kazuya's heart sinks as he witnesses the man leaning to kiss Chizuru, unintentionally interrupting their intimate moment. However, Chizuru quickly reveals the truth, that she has been practicing her acting skills, with Umikun acting as a professional actor. When Kazuya recalls Umi's conversation in the restroom, Umi explains that he was attempting to recommend Chizuru to his director, and Kazuya realizes that he made a huge misunderstanding. Soon after, Chizuru gives Kazuya a Christmas present, which turns out to be a phone case. Seeing Kazuya's reliance on his broken phone, she ensures that her gift is useful. So Kazuya, who has never received a Christmas gift before, bursts into tears. Since then, Kazuya has been extremely proud that he received a phone case from her, but it turns out that it is not only him who receives a gift, but also Chizuru's customers. So he tells Chizuru about his disappointment with the gift, and she immediately asks him if he has feelings for her, which he reluctantly denies. When they are on their way home, they run into Ruka, who is envious of both of them. So Ruka asks Kazuya to cancel his date with Chizuru and goes on a date with her instead. Before they begin dating, Ruka blindfolds Kazuya's eyes, causing him to be curious about their destination. When he removes his blindfold, he finds himself inside a love hotel. Ruka asks Kazuya to reveal the truth about his relationship with Chizuru. After hearing his story, Ruka asks Kazuya to introduce her to his grandmother as his girlfriend, but he explains that his grandmother adores Chizuru, making it difficult for Ruka to replace her. When she tries to seduce him, Kazuya excuses himself to the bathroom, where Ruka secretly looks at Kazuya's phone. On New Year's Day, Kazuya invites Chizuru to lunch with his family. Suddenly, an uninvited Ruka appears and introduces herself as Kazuya's girlfriend. Knowing that he is cheating on Chizuru, she confronts him and asks her to break up with Ruka. Kazuya, on the other hand, informs her that Ruka has a habit of lying. As they sit down to enjoy their meal at the restaurant, Ruka notices the awkwardness in the Kazuya family's expressions, and she suspects it is Kazuya's fault. At the shrine, Ruka takes the opportunity to separate Kazuya's grandmother from Kazuya and Chizuru. Ruka tries to reveal the truth about Chizuru to her, but she is unable to do so because Kazuya's grandmother is obsessed with Chizuru's personality. Despite the obstacles, Ruka refuses to give up on her pursuit of Kazuya's heart. She expresses her determination to assure him that she will continue striving to be his girlfriend. Following that, it is revealed that Ruka will be working at the same karaoke bar as Kazuya, where she will spend more time with him and be serious about being his girlfriend. Kiba and his friends then appear at the karaoke, where he informs Kazuya that Kori has been acting strangely, tweeting about broken hearts on his private account. So Kazuya asks her to do something about it, but she doesn't think much of it because she likes Kazuya. Later that night, Kazuya asks Chizuru for her assistance. A few days later, Kazuya arranges for Kori to wait at the station. To his surprise, Chizuru unexpectedly appears before him, revealing herself as a rental girlfriend, leaving him confused. So Chizuru takes the initiative and suggests that they spend their date at an amusement park. As they set out on their journey, Kori realizes that Chizuru represents the idealized image of a dream girl. Their time together is filled with laughter and enjoyment, creating memorable moments. At the end of their date, Kori expresses his gratitude to Chizuru and Kazuya for their support. When Chizuru leaves them alone, Kazuya uses the opportunity to reveal the truth to him. Kori, on the other hand, finds it ridiculous. As their date isn't yet over, Kazuya decides to leave Kori and her. Chizuru invites him to accompany her on a walk to the station. Before they leave, Kori asks Chizuru if she has ever fallen in love with one of her clients. She recalls a time when Kazuya asked her to go on a date with Kori to cheer him up, to which she replied vaguely. Meanwhile, Chizuru instructs Kazuya to wait on the balcony, where she requests his assistance in renting a shy girl who has received numerous complaints from her clients. She then promises Kazuya that she will stay by his side until he can finally forget about his ex. At the station, Kazuya meets Sumi, who is shy and nervous. As they begin walking together, Mami, who happens to be passing by, notices Kazuya walking with his new girlfriend. For their first date, Kazuya suggests playing a game of bowling, hoping it will help Sumi feel more relaxed. During their time together, Kazuya takes the opportunity to ask Sumi about her decision to become a rental girlfriend. In response, Sumi employs a hand signal to convey that she is working on improving her communication skills. While Kazuya steps away to get them drinks, he notices Sumi is being bothered by a group of punks. Without hesitation, he confronts them and pulls her away from them. She later expresses her gratitude to Kazuya for saving her life. As Kazuya returns from the restroom, he notices Mami sitting at the table with Sumi. Sumi tries to show Mami that she is his girlfriend, while Mami introduces herself. However, Kazuya thinks she's pushing it too far. So Mami asks her to give them some alone time, and she gives them some space. During their conversation, Mami admits to Kazuya that he has become quite popular among girls. After their date concludes, Kazuya compliments Sumi on her personal growth and improvement. Meanwhile, a jealous Mami seeks to uncover more information about Sumi, only to discover that she is a rental girlfriend. Later that night, Kazuya and Chizuru are having a conversation on the balcony. Chizuru expresses her gratitude to him for helping Sumi. She then informs him that she has landed a role in her play and will be leaving her job as a rental girlfriend, which surprises him. The next day, while Chizuru is waiting for her client, it is revealed that Mami is her client. Kazuya, on the other hand, receives a phone call from Ruka, who invites him on a date, and he agrees. When they go on a date, he finds her to have a cheerful personality while also being possessive. Later at work, just as Kazuya is about to express his desire to be in a relationship with Ruka, he accidentally notices Mami and Chizuru entering a room together. Inside the room, Mami tries to pay Chizuru, but she refuses, leading her to question how Mami knows about her rental job, despite Mami having known for a week. Confused by Mami's motives, Chizuru asks her why she's doing this, but Mami ignores the question and requests that Chizuru sing for her. In the meantime, Kazuya realizes Mami has discovered the truth about his and Chizuru's relationship. As soon as they leave, Kazuya pretends to be sick so he can follow them. When Kazuya manages to find them, Chizuru confronts Mami about her feelings for Kazuya, as she believes Mami still has feelings for him. Mami then asks Chizuru about her feelings for Kazuya, who has been acting as a rental girlfriend for a year. Chizuru boldly declares that Kazuya is her boyfriend, but Mami refuses to believe her. As Mami prepares to leave, Chizuru grabs her hand and tells her about the value of love and how difficult it is to fall in love with someone. She also asks Mami to consider the possibility that Kazuya is her true love, someone who can make her life happy. However, when Mami notices Kazuya hiding, she refuses to answer her question and leaves Chizuru alone. Kazuya is heartbroken, but he is moved by Chizuru's empathy for his feelings. Later that night, as Chizuru walks past him, Kazuya expresses his gratitude to her for standing up for him. Chizuru apologizes for not being able to find him a girlfriend. Kazuya surprises her by admitting that he actually wants her. When Chizuru questions him about his feelings, Kazuya hesitantly clarifies, saying, as a rental girlfriend. To make things uncomplicated, Kazuya quickly enters into his apartment. Inside her apartment, Chizuru is left confused by Kazuya's ambiguous statement, unsure of his true intentions and emotions. That's a wrap. Thank you for watching.